So welcome back to another episode of Raw and Real with Stephanie Fernandez. And I'm so glad to have my first male podcast guest today. Welcome, Emeka.
Hello, Stephanie. This is such a pleasure. And I am excited that I am your first male podcast guest.
It's just we've been chatting just before I hit the record button, and we were just saying of how important it is to have different views. And I'm so glad that you, as a board certified pediatrician and as a guy, can bring your perspective into the whole picture of, moving from having a life without kids into what happened now. I just brought a baby home and I don't know how to do this. What's happening with me and my life? So that's amazing.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to our conversation. I think there's certainly we all have our different perspectives that can bring a full picture to whatever we're looking at. And so I'm happy to contribute whatever little parts I can.
So tell me, where does your passion come from?
Oh, wow. That is an interesting question. I'm not even sure. I actually wanted to be an ophthalmologist when I was in med school. And I did my med school back in Nigeria, where I'm originally from. I did my residency, pediatric residency in the United States. But in med school, I wanted to be an ophthalmologist. But in Nigeria, when you're done training, we kind of train with the British system. And so after you're done, you have to do 3 months in each of the 4 major medical specialties: surgery, internal medicine, OBGYN, and pediatrics. And it's just like everyone has to go through those 4 specialties, those rotations for the first year. And then you're like a fully certified physician. And so I went through those 4 specialties and I fell in love with my pediatric rotation. It was just such a magical time. It was difficult in many ways because, watching kids go through difficult circumstances can be quite heart-wrenching, but it was so fulfilling that I said, yeah, no more ophthalmology. This is pediatrics for life.
So this is where you lost your heart.
And then I lost my heart. And then more recently, in the last maybe 5 years or so, as I started to become more self-aware and more introspective and really trying to understand what lights me up, I also realized even within pediatrics that I am the most alive when I am interacting and helping a mom who has just given birth to a baby. And I enjoy those interactions and those visits more than anything else I do in pediatrics. And so I've tried to lean more into it and just bring as much value as I can in those situations.
Yeah, there's a lot of focus on the baby when a baby is born, right?
Yes, yes.
And there's a lot of focus on these technicalities of the physical aspects, everything fine. How do you do the breastfeeding? How do you do all these technicalities really? But there's not so much focus on the mom from a medical perspective, unless something really traumatic happened during birth. But tell me, how did you transition into that, helping also the mom and seeing the mom? I think that's very unique as a pediatrician, to not only see the baby, but also see the mom and see it as a unity. And it can only function when the mom is.
Oh, wow. That is so beautifully said, seeing the mom. I've never even thought about it that way, right? That what I am doing is seeing the mom beyond just the baby in front of me. And I think at this point, I've been practicing for going on 18 years now. So I've cared for like over 2,000 babies. And by proxy, their moms, who typically are the ones bringing them in. And I think I've just enjoyed the interaction with the mom herself, because that is where I see the most transformation, because I can see a mom come into the exam room or into, the exam room with me, worried, concerned, full of uncertainty and all those other unpleasant feelings. And I can see many times, either in the same visit or over several visits, her transition to being more confident and being more sure and being less worried and less anxious. And those interactions and that transformation has just been very rewarding to see. And I think, and I'm not sure, I can't even tell you why I sort of have moved that focus, but I wouldn't say move the focus, but also focused on the mom as well. I mean, she's an essential part of what's going on with the baby, right? If mom isn't completely well or able to show up fully in all of her radiance, it does affect the baby's health as well. And so we can't do without focusing on mom. I think, like we were talking about before we started to record, that it's also easy to focus on all the physical aspects of what's going on, even with the baby, like you said, are we breastfeeding well? Is the baby okay? Are they putting on enough weight? And all of those things. And even when mom is taken care of, like by her OBGYN, they're also looking at all the physical things. Do you have an infection? How is your pain control? How are things? And, I think we're becoming more intentional about thinking about the baby blues and postpartum depression. But even that is being scratched, I think, just barely. But a bigger conversation that maybe even really helps a mom the most is conversations around her mindset going into caring for her newborn. And I've given this much thought. I have observed moms that I've cared for over the years, and I've come to sort of realize that there is a certain mindset that is most helpful for a mom when she has a newborn. And I've sort of tried to coin it the confident mom mindset, which I found has been really useful. And there are maybe three aspects to it, or three phrases or sentences that I feel gives mom the most, can help her really shine when it comes to caring for her newborn, when she can internalize those questions. And so number one is, I am the best mom for my baby. It's a very simple statement, one that you can easily overlook. But I think it's one where if a mom sits with that statement, and it's even most helpful if she can sit with that statement even before the baby comes. That I am the best mom for this baby. Not my sister, not my mom, not the woman next door, not my girlfriend, not anybody. I am the best mom for this baby. Doesn't matter how this baby came to you, whether it's through natural birth or through adoption or whatever. This baby has been given to me, and I am the best mom for this baby. And I think when you sit with that statement, it's very empowering. It also allows you to realize that you have everything within you to care for this baby, and maybe in some ways helps fight some of the mom guilt that is also pervasive with moms. And I'll be honest, I can't completely speak to that experience being a guy, but I'm a father. I have a wife. We've had 3 kids. I've seen some of it personally, and I've cared for thousands of moms at this point by proxy, caring for their newborns. And so I can speak to things from that experience, just watching from the outside in also, and seeing how a mom can struggle with some of those feelings and how it can hold her back from being her true full self.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how simple that message is, but how powerful it can be. And we all know everything that we practice, it's just easier to internalize. So I love also to recommend to practice sitting with that and feeling it before the baby arrives.
Yeah.
Because that will also impact the baby in the moment, still in the womb.
Yes.
The mind connection is so strong. And
that is true.
Yeah. So that was number one.
That was number one, yes. The second one is that I'm in charge of my baby's care. I am in charge of my baby's care, not again, the lady next door, not the person on Instagram, not the government, not my mom, not anybody, but I am in charge of my baby's care. And also that babies also are very adaptable, and your baby should adapt. My baby will adapt to me and not me, not the other way around. And this is important because I think, especially in this day and age of social media, it's so easy to go on there and scroll through your feed and feel like, this is how I'm supposed to care for my baby. I'm supposed to use this kind of diaper. I'm supposed to feed them this particular way. I'm supposed to, interact with them this particular way. And I think that a mom is most able to truly shine as a mom when she's most authentic and when she's mothering and caring for her newborn from a very authentic place. And that could be as simple as, I'm a mom who likes things very organized and very, put together. Everything is in its right place. And so I'm going to care for my baby on a schedule also, right? This is time to do this. This is time to do that. This is time to do the other. And you're going to be responsive to your baby. So you'll feed them when they need to be fed, but there's still some sort of order to it. And maybe you're a mom who's sort of just carefree and everything goes, I just love to just embrace the day however it turns out. Then you care for your baby that way. Again, still caring for the baby and giving them what they need. But if you're trying to all of a sudden organize your room the way you feel it should be organized, and you want to like plan your day the way you feel they've told you should plan it, then you're kind of out of alignment, and then it becomes, well, there's so much difficulty already during this period caring for a newborn. It's all new. Even if you've had a baby before, this is still a new baby. So it's a new interaction with another new human being. There are all kinds of changes going on in your own body, hormonally, and there's just a lot of stress. To add on top of that, the stress of trying to conform to what somebody else feels is the ideal way to care for your newborn. Right? We just want that you caring for your newborn safely. That's it, period. Because newborns will thrive in any situation, right? The newborn will thrive in, Western culture. They will thrive also in a mud hut somewhere that's still developing. They'll just thrive for whatever the environment, gives them, as long as, again, they're safe, right? And they're cared for and they're loved and they're fed. That's all that's necessary. And much of what moms, in my experience, just observing, much of what moms worry about unfortunately not as impactful as I think it is. Right? At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what kind of diaper you use for your baby. Just use whatever you feel just rings true to you, and the baby will be fine.
Yeah. But Emeka, there are a lot of moms out there who lost touch with who they authentically are when their baby arrives, or
That's true.
they have lived a life that is not very authentic, but they didn't have the chance to look inward.
Yeah.
And be reflective. But then the baby arrives, and all of a sudden, a wall breaks down, and you find yourself like, who am I? Who am I with all the things that I used to have?
Yeah.
With all the shopping, the work, the clothes, the friends, the dinners. I thought this is who I am, but what now? What would you recommend moms when they say, how do I know who I am authentically?
Oh, that's such an important question. I think one that I'm just going to try and see if I can answer the best way possible. I think one is, first of all, just to acknowledge that feeling and acknowledge it. I think oftentimes it's easy for us as human beings to feel unpleasant emotions and to try and stuff them away and just hide them, not acknowledge them. But unfortunately, those things end up having more power. Those emotions and feelings end up having more power over us, more than we probably realize. So I think that number one would just be acknowledging the fact that you feel that way, and that you're not abnormal for feeling that way, and that you can give yourself space to even grieve the loss, right? There's some loss of autonomy. You have this other little human being that you have to now be care for and worry about 24/7. So there's some loss. There's some things you've lost that it's okay to grieve over, because you can go through that grieving process and come on the other end, and I think able to let that go and embrace what now is. And to realize that, I think that it comes back to what I said about being the best mom for your baby and being in charge of a baby's care. And the third also mindset is that a mindset shift or thoughts to sit with is that I have all that it takes to care for this baby properly. I have all that it takes to care for this baby. And I think going back to what you just asked, you can connect it because in this new reality, I have all that it takes to care for this baby. I may not have all the information on my fingertips, but I can search for it. You know, I can talk to an experienced mom. I can take a course. I can get a coach. I can join a mom group. I can get information I need. I can read. I can get information I need. And I can also, in this new reality of trying to figure out where I am in the world right now and what my life now is, um, I can give myself the grace and the freedom to lean into what I am feeling. I think that we're in such a very interesting time. I was thinking about this earlier on today. Such a very interesting time for moms. And again, I'm just speaking as, you know, an outsider looking in, you know, and wouldn't even try to pretend like I completely understand this. But just from the outside looking in, women are such in a very interesting place where we all realize women can be anything they want to be and they can do whatever their male counterparts can do just as equally, right? And just as well and better in many cases. But I feel like there's just been this weird period in time where they're guilty for doing those things that they want to really pursue in their heart to do. And then if part of that is staying home and actually caring for their newborns, they're also guilty about that also because they feel they should be out working. And if they're working, they're guilty because they feel they should be home caring for the newborn, right? There's like this sort of, I feel, again, just watching from the outside in, and you can tell me that they're sort of torn apart and that the mom who really wants to work can just work and just be all of herself there and be fully fulfilled there and have whatever arrangement she has for her newborn's care. And the mom who wants to be home can just fully be and just enjoy the experience and have whatever arrangement she has for it. You know what I mean? Like, I think like, and I can only imagine how beautiful it will be if both ladies in both situations can fully embrace all of that, right? Yeah.
It's really as you say, it's a mindset of about the decision how I lead my life in that phase of my life. It doesn't need to be set in stone that this is what I do for 20 years, and it doesn't define my worth. But now I feel it's the best to stay home with my child. And then I revisit that decision, and maybe it will change, but it's really that confidence we need to have in ourselves of saying, look, I know what's best for us. I know what I can do. I know what I can deliver. And this is a part of a self-care also. Do something against your intuition, something against your values. You will not live a good life because you're constantly trying to fit somewhere that's not your place. It might be your best friend's place, or it might have been your mom's place, but you are your own person, and it's just not the same. So I fully agree with you, and it resonates with me so much. Also, when it comes to birth and all that, you know, birth preparation. Do you have an elective C-section? Do you give birth in a hospital or at home? There's just so many opinions, and if we don't know what is good for us and our authentic self, then we can easily get shaken. And that's just tough in all this toughness of motherhood. Even harder.
Yeah, you mentioned something I want to kind of go back to, because I hope people, you know, the listeners didn't sort of miss that. The fact that none of this is set in stone. You know, it's something I teach a newborn preparation course, and one of the things I tell moms there is, when you make a decision, just fully embrace it. This is the decision I'm making right now. And I fully reserve the right to change my mind in the future when I get more information or different information and feel differently. Like, you know, you don't have to feel like you're stuck in this one decision. And if you make that decision, that's it, right? You can change your mind. You're completely within your rights to change your mind and feel differently based on new information or different information or just how you feel differently.
Yeah. I wish that was something people would have told me. I just would have needed one friend that would have told me, look, if this is not working now, then you adjust. And it's
Yes.
really with the baby a lot of trial and error, because you just simply
Yeah.
don't know the baby yet. You're getting to know each other. They change so fast. They have these milestones, they meet, and all of a sudden you thought you figured it all out and it's upside down again.
Yes.
So you just need to be flexible if you can.
Yeah.
From your mind
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah. Absolutely. And and also just be prepared for the unknown, because much of it is unknown. There's so many things that you're going to face with this newborn that you can't predict. And sometimes it's different just the way you feel. I mean, one of the things I started to realize more recently as I started to have more deep conversations with some of the moms that I care for by proxy, I like to say, because I'm caring for the newborns really, is to realize that oftentimes a lot of moms are very blindsided by some of the emotions they feel after the baby is born, whether that's just feeling depressed or feeling anxious, and whether that's a baby blues or postpartum depression, and that's a whole other conversation, as well as also sometimes just not being able to connect emotionally with the baby and just being very shocked that they don't feel all these nice, warm, fuzzy feelings for this newborn, because that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way I see it on Instagram. That's the way, everyone talks about it. Baby comes out, mom is like, oh, my life has changed. It's beautiful. But that's not always the case for every mom. And so the mom who doesn't feel that right away can feel loads of guilt and shame, whereas that is just another expression or another natural expression of how a mom can feel. There's all kinds of hormonal things going on, and those feelings can come over time. Usually will come over time. But if you're not prepared for that, that can throw you off big time. Yeah.
It is, and it's so valuable that there's someone who just tells them that and validates their feelings of how they're feeling in the moment, and that there's really nothing wrong with them.
Yes, nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you, mom.
No, exactly. So Emeka, I know that you are in the US. Whereabouts are you?
Oh, I'm in Western Maryland. I run a practice here in Western Maryland, and I also put out some content online for new moms and newborns, and I enjoy doing that a lot.
So how
Yeah,
can my listeners find you and connect with you?
sure. So they can. I have a vlog. I put out a little short video, short clips of around newborn care on my website. It's the newbornprepacademy.com. So it's newbornprepacademy.com. And there's a video blog also. I also run an online course called the Newborn Preparation Course. And on the website, there's a wait list. We should be running another class or opening up for enrollment in September. Late September. So I'm looking forward to being able to sit with moms. It's a 4-week course. We go through everything, including mindset, feeding your baby, what your baby's poop looks like, how to deal with unexpected situations, how to care for your newborn. Just a lot of things over the years I've realized moms worry about that if they just knew ahead of time will just make for a much better experience with the newborns.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I hear that you really took on that almost responsibility to fill a gap in the system. It sounds like.
Yeah. I guess you could put it that way.
Yeah, I mean,
For
I don't
sure.
know. I'm here in Denmark, and here things are a little bit differently organized. So when you deliver a baby, you go home the first day.
Yeah.
And then you have 1 year of a health visitors nurse coming to your house to take care of you and the baby, and they
Yes.
will follow your mental health journey. They
Yeah.
will follow the baby, and I remember my mental health nurse almost like a friend. She was really my rock in that first year of my baby's life.
Yeah.
And I wonder how it is in the US, and how does the system catch moms?
Yeah. You're right actually when you say that, filling a gap, because that is such a gaping hole in the healthcare system. Like I said earlier on, the newborn is taken care of at the doctor's office, in the pediatrician's office, or whatever healthcare provider is taking care of them. mom is taken care of in her newborn, at her OBGYN. And even in those places, we're really just looking at just the physical aspects of what's going on. And maybe we'll just ask a few questions, random questions about her mental health. That's improving some, but not nearly where it should be. But that's it. Otherwise, that's it. Mom is really is left to fend for herself. Even with her OBGYN, I think she has maybe like a 2-week visit and a 6-week visit, and that's it. Right. With the newborn is a little better because we see them at multiple times, and I guess that's why I've been able to sort of interact with these moms over a period of time. That first year of the baby's life is probably like, I know, 8 visits or so. So there's a number of touch points, but still not nearly as comprehensive as it is where you are. And so, yes, in some ways, I think I would like to think that I'm helping in my little way to provide some of that care or fill that gap, because there's a lot of information moms will do well just to know before the baby comes. And after the baby comes, just a lot of information that will be helpful to help her care for this newborn and to help her just be able to. And it's not even just, again, these are a list of things you must know. A lot of it is just the mindset also. How do I deal with things if things don't turn out the way they should be? How do I advocate for myself and for my baby? How do I seek that information that I need and all of that?
It's so beautiful what you do. I just love everything about it.
Thank you very much. That's so sweet of you to say.
Thank you so much for being a guest today and for the work you do for us moms. And guys, if you would like to connect with Emeka, I will put all of the links in the show notes of this episode, and you just reach out to him. I mean, just take the support, every support you can get.
Thank you so very much for the work you do. It is so important. And thank you for having me on. It was such a pleasure and a thrill chatting with you.
I'm honored. And thank you so much. Take care.